Alrighty, we're a bit early, but I'm gonna come on up now, just because I'm sitting here and enjoying the chat, and I got everything all set up. Get the music up a little bit. There we go, and then we'll show my beautiful face. There it is. There's the face. Hello, everybody. I hope you're all doing good. Ba-da-ba-da. Hello, Justice Crickets. Hello, Black Cover. Wait, Hot Dog, Danielle, Sir Salarino. Sorry, apologies if I said your name wrong. Ulysses the Pagan, the person whose name I can't pronounce. LKJHGFDUSA3345. You have a very difficult to pronounce name, but I adore you. Psychic Refugee, Owen, Colin O'Neill, Edward Beador. Good to see you all. Ba, 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 ba. Hello, who else is here? Selkie, good to see you. Sarah, Samuel Howard, Danielle, Morgan, baby girl Roberta, Lou, Leia Rose, Pedro. Let's see, Ian, you got Control. I am jealous of you getting to experience Control for the first time. One of my favorite games of all time. Obviously, the nature of work, the video I did last week, announcing that I'm a full-time YouTuber, by the way. Hello. That video is so much influenced by Control. Very obviously. Like, I wasn't trying to hide that fact. Very much influenced by Control. Edward Beador, heart to you. Thank you so much for the super chat. You said being a Miller fan makes my relationship with The Expanse incredibly abusive. Oh, yeah, it does. Without spoiling too much about that show. If you become a fan of Miller on The Expanse, know you're in for some pain. Know you're in for some pain. Everyone's saying hello, hi. Everyone's looking good. You don't know the power of the dark side. It is Revenge of the Sixth. Hello, everybody. So, just quick introductions. Before we get too far into this, for those of you who are new to the stream and the community, welcome. You are lovely, and I adore you all, and welcome here. I am so glad to have you. So thank you to this. And this is just our chat stream where I sit and rant for about an hour every Thursday, typically at 6 o'clock Pacific time live, but I'm doing it a little bit early today because I have something at 7 o'clock, hence why I'm all dolled up. Right now, normally don't get me looking so fancy, but I got an interview thing for a sponsorship stuff, which is kind of cool. I don't want to speak too much about it without knowing, but it's going full time. It's all coming together like just crazy stuff. But anyways, it means I got a lot of like actual businessy stuff to do, which is yay. I got to do that work stuff, but should be fun. But anyways, yeah. So I'm doing it a bit early today because we're just early. So. Yeah, just chat and hang out with whatever the chat wants to talk about. If you do a super chat, you get a heart. Hearts, super chats get hearts, and obviously I answer your question. But other than that, the chat is the one that directs the stream. So whatever you want to talk about, I will rant about for a while. But yes, and everyone's saying you do look lovely. Well, thank you. I thought I looked particularly nice today. I look really good. I don't know what it is. Like, this is just a simple tank. But I look good in this tank. Like, no, I'm not gonna, screw it. My boobs look really nice in this tank. I'll just say it. And I just, like, I don't know. I feel like distinctly, like, girly looking in this tank, and yet also kind of, like, buff as well. It's, like, feminine, yet also subversively, like, super, like, buff and muscular sort of thing, too. So I kind of like that. I don't know. I feel, it's like a simple, like, $5 tank top from Target, but I feel hot in it. I don't know why. So I've just been I've been kind of overusing this tank. I just feel like I look good in it. So I guess all of you agree. So I guess we can all agree that this tank looks good on me. I've been enjoying your makeup looks on Insta. Yeah, I've been feeling, I don't know what it is. It's not a bad, like, it's a good sign, but for the past, like, month or two, maybe it's part of the mental health stuff of going full-time on YouTube, but I've just been feeling, like, very body positive lately. Not that I've, like, I'll talk about this I have a video plan about this, but I do have some, like, body stuff separate from trans stuff that I kind of go through from time to time. In the past, like, month, I've actually been like, hey, I'm kind of hot. That's weird. I've been kind of leaning into it a bit. So yeah. Muscle Queen Jessie. Shoulders are hot. Thank you, Selkie. The tank looks so pretty on you. Thank you so much. Let's see. Edward Beador, well, heart to you. Thank you so much for the super chat. You said, if Gene Roddenberry's Andromeda ever gets rebooted, remade, what are some changes you would want to see? Who should play Captain Dylan Hunt? To be very fair with you, I have not seen much of Andromeda, mostly because I do not like Kevin Sorbo. Is the main problem. I don't like his acting. Number one, he's not a particularly great actor, and then number two, I don't like him as a person. He seems to be kind of a jerk. So I haven't seen much of it, but I do know the basic premise for it. Who would I like to see play Captain Dylan Hunt? I mean, honestly, I would love to see Ben. I've been watching Farscape, as you know, I have the Farscape Rewatch podcast, and I would love to see Ben Broder do that, but obviously I think Ben Broder's a bit too old at this point. But I love Ben Broder. I wish he was in more things. Honestly, I miss Ben Broder from Farscape and Stargate SG-1. I wish we had more Ben Broder. What else? Who else do I think could have a fun time doing that? God, I'm always so bad. All of you people always ask me to like pick up actors, and I'm like, I'm bad at casting people because I'm like, there's so many good actors that I would love. Actually, David Ajala, the actor, I believe that's his name, the actor who plays Book on Star Trek Discovery, he would actually be a really fun choice for Dylan Hunt. Actually, I feel like he could have that kind of swashbuckly, like jerky, but still like good-hearted sort of feel to him. I feel like David Ajala might be a good choice, actually. I wouldn't want him to leave Star Trek Discovery, but I feel like he would be actually a great choice to run Andromeda, now that I kind of think about it. Ooh, Lucy Lawless could play Captain Hunt. Yes, very much so. Very much so. Let's see. Mark. Jessie needs a new tattoo. I am planning, once I get my second Pfizer shot, Pfizer? Yeah, Pfizer was the one I got, I think. I'm getting a new tattoo on my wrist, but that's not coming for... I think I'm getting my well, actually, I'm not supposed to get my Pfizer shot for another week or two, I believe, but I have hit my 2 weeks, and they just opened up walk-ins here in Seattle, so I might just walk in and get it this weekend, get my my second dose, even though technically I'm not scheduled with through my insurance until, like, I think next week or 2 weeks from now, so I might get it this weekend, which will be kind of nice. Angie Pugh, thank you so much for your super chat. Heart to you, you lovely person. It's good to see you here. Speaking of Pfizer doses, hello, I got my second Pfizer dose today. You look great, and you look also happy in general. Well, thank you so much. I am happy in general. It's been really good the past few weeks, honestly. Busy, but a good busy. So yeah, I talked about that in the other video, obviously, but it's been good. It's been good. And congratulations on getting your second Pfizer shot. Hell yeah, get that vaccination juice. Get it. Get it. So yeah, that's great. And thank you, Sarah, for saying, hey, the makeup's on point. Appreciate that. Let's see. Next super chat, Sarah, good to see you. Heart to you. Thank you, Sarah. Loving how you look is important, right? It is true. Heart to you. Also, I should say, speaking of loving how good you look, Sarah, your outfits and your videos are freaking amazing. For those of you who don't check out Sarah's channel, The Costume Nerd, great channel. She does great analysis of costuming in different shows and like how it relates to the story. One of my personal favorites of hers is her Babylon 5 one. I posted on my community tab a little while ago. So if you're into costuming and how costuming affects story, Sarah's channel, The Costume Nerd, is excellent, and I would highly recommend it. And going back to my original point, sorry, you look great in those videos. Your like freaking outfits, speaking of costumes, look amazing. And I would hope so. I mean, you're talking about costumes, so I would hope your costumes and your videos will look good, but you don't disappoint. You don't disappoint. Let's see. Sorry, I'm just catching up on the chat here. Oh, I just see people talk about the pictures that got released from the Targaryen prequel of Game of Thrones. I saw those. It looks pretty interesting. Oh, sorry, the sun's being a jerk today, so I gotta play with, it's messing with my lighting. I'll set up a little bit here, but yeah, Matt Smith. I mean, I'm glad to see Matt Smith and things again. It's been a while since like Matt Smith's been in a TV show. I know he was in The Crown, but I didn't watch The Crown. I know I should. Don't hate me. I know I should. But yeah, it's good to see Matt Smith in like a genre thing again, because I love Matt Smith. Matt Smith was my second favorite Doctor behind David Tennant, and so it's good to see him back and stuff. Hey, happy birthday month, Miss Wicked Wolf. Good, happy birthday month. Edward Bedor, heart to you for the second super chat. I really appreciate it. You said Christian Bale as Captain Dylan Hunt. Make him angry and yell at you. Are you professional or not? Christian Bale's never gonna live that down. I mean, you can talk about whether it was warranted or not. I don't remember the specifics of the situation. He clearly went overboard on stuff, but he's certainly never gonna be forgotten about him. That's for damn sure. Speaking of Terminator, speaking of Matt Smith and Terminator stuff, because Matt Smith was in Terminator, which was fascinating. Erica Koshar, thank you so much for the super chat. A heart to you, you lovely person. I appreciate it. You said, a tip to your happiness and loving how you look, shine on. Well, thank you so much. You are a lovely person. Thank you so much, Erica. I really appreciate that. Wellington Smith. Yeah, you have sun in Seattle? Yeah, it was a bit cloudy a little bit ago. Like, actually, I don't know, you can't really tell, but I'm like, my window looks right up at the sky right here. And actually, this half of the sky is actually really bright and sunny, and I can see the blue. This half is just like storm clouds. It's like very much like right in the middle. They just split into becoming like, that's dark and dreary. That's really nice. And it looks like it's actually going to the nice way. So that's nice for me. Yeah, they're doing a Targaryen prequel for Game of Thrones, Marg. I'm not sure I feel. I mean, I would much rather a continuation. These prequel shows, not that prequel shows can't be good. Like Better Call Saul, I think is a good prequel. Like I actually really like Better Call Saul quite a bit. I even kind of to a degree because I like law stuff. Like I like lawyer things. A good lawyer movie will make me happy any day. I enjoy a good law movie. So I actually genuinely like Better Call Saul more than I like Breaking Bad. But on the whole, I feel like prequels, not that they aren't as good. Because I think prequels can be as good, but I'm just immediately less interested in them overall. Now, to be fair, Game of Thrones I think might do a good job because there's a lot of rich lore to mine there with like a prequel setting, because like the world is so big and there's so much lore that has been wholly unexplored and just hinted at. So I feel like a prequel show in Game of Thrones has a better leg up than most, but I'm not entirely sure. I would much rather like an Arya show. Like just show where Arya went when she went across the sea. That would be much more fascinating to me as a Game of Thrones fan. But I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt because, like I said, prequels can be good. It can work. But it's not the one that if like someone came to me and asked me like, what Game of Thrones show would you want? The prequels would not have been what I would have done. But it makes sense why the big business suits want, because it's like, hey, look, it's more of the thing that people like, but it has like a backstory that we can go from instead of like sequel stuff. So it makes sense. Yeah, Ian Manning, I agree. The Dark Crystal show was a prequel, and it was amazing. Yeah, the Dark Crystal show was absolutely amazing. I was so Age of Resistance, so disappointed that show got canceled. It was fantastic. Game of Thrones, like it was like Game of Thrones in and of itself. So yeah, that was such a disappointment that show got canceled because I loved that. Age of Resistance was such a great show, and it was just disappointing to see that disappear. So Seattle is not actually Ferenginar, Corey. Yeah, it's not. Actually, people say, okay, Seattle's known as the rainy city, and yes, it does rain quite a bit here, but not as much as people think. And actually, it actually isn't the rainiest city in the country, in the United States. I think actually Chicago gets more. I think I remember reading Chicago technically actually gets more rainfall per year than Seattle. So Seattle, like, while it's known as the rainy city, is actually not as rainy as other cities in the U.S. Or at least it's not the most rainiest? That's a sentence. Targaryens, lots of dragons and incest. Yes. That's all I need. I just need Matt Smith dragons, and I could take it or leave it on the incest. But, you know, incest is the best cest. I guess that is what they say. At least I hope no one actually says that. Let's see. Catching up in the chat here. Jessie, do you watch Law and Order, NCIS, or CSI? I don't. I used to watch. Actually, I weirdly used to watch like I was like one of those like weird people that like what? Well, no, we all did it. We all did it. I watched I didn't watch much Law and Order, NCIS. Law and Order I would watch occasionally every once in a while. CSI, I watched every episode of CSI Miami, CSI Normal, and CSI New York for years. I think up until I was like 14 or 15, then I kind of fell off of it. But I used to watch CSI all the time. I honestly, I could not tell you anything about the shows, really. Except for, like, Gary Sinise and also, like, the CSI Miami, like, glasses thing. And then there was one, like, transgender episode that they did of CSI that was, like, intensely problematic, but also, like, the first representation I remember seeing of, like, transgender people in a TV show. It was, like, all transgender people are sex workers sort of things. Which again is not necessarily a bad thing to show. There are a lot of trans people in sex work, but it kind of leaned into that overly used trope. But the thing I remember about the CSI trans, like the very special episode that it was literally like CSI does a very special episode about trans people was like the episode. And the thing that I remember most about the episode was, number one, it was very positive about trans people, which I actually really appreciated. It wasn't super cruel about trans people. In fact, the end note of the episode was that like trans people are actually part of nature just as anybody else is. Which that was like the last part of the episode. But the other part of the episode that has always weirdly stuck with me is the trans woman in the show who was murdered. That they were the murdered person. Though there were other trans characters in that episode. They apparently like made a big deal of the fact that she would take a shower, and when she got out of the shower, she would put a towel over the mirror because she didn't want to like look at a naked woman because she thought it was like, oh, I don't look at naked women. And that was like so weird for me because it was like, why? I'm not saying that can't happen, but it was like such of this like, oh, trans woman's really a dude, so we don't want her like looking at a woman's body, but it's her body. It was like this weird understanding of the male gaze, but then like misgendering a trans person, at least conceptually. Like they didn't call her a guy, but like conceptually misgendering her as like a male person and like acknowledging that the male gaze, it was like such a weird thing. And they specifically phrased it. It wasn't like, oh, she had body dysphoria and didn't want to see her naked body because she didn't think she was like hot enough. Because that I could totally understand, very much so. But the way they like phrased it was like that she like didn't want to see a woman's body. Like she thought it was like it was just improper of her. But it was her body. It was so weird. It was such a weird thought process. Yeah. So, I mean, there's probably a lot to, like, analyze about that. But on the whole, I don't really watch shows like Law & Order, CSI, NCIS anymore. Especially now, like, with the better understanding of, like, propaganda in our media. I mean, there's propaganda in everything. I mean, I love the show Fringe, and Fringe is also, like, a bunch of cops. So, like, it's in everything, but shows that are, like, expressly that, I'm less about, especially nowadays. I'm less forgiving than when I was younger, but I mean, I enjoyed it for a long time, and you know, it is what it is. Hooligan comedy. Hey, Jessie, congrats on going full time. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I'm excited to be full time. I feel like, as you can probably tell, I feel much better. I feel like much more like I'm still busy as all hell. I'm still busy as all get out, and I still have like other stuff that I'm doing. I'm still contract. I do edit some trailers for a video game company called Nyx Hydra, which is like a trans inclusive app game company. Like they make apps for video games, and I help edit trailers for them. And they're trans inclusive. Like you can choose to be transgender in the game, which is really nice. So I edit trailers for them and do a few other things. So I'm busy still, but it's like the focus is more on doing YouTube stuff, which makes me feel so much better. I also should say the Patreon community really grew the past like week or so since I announced I was going full time. So like to all of you who became patrons this past week, like I'm going to give an extra special heart to all of you who happen to be in the chat who are patrons or who became patrons. It's really appreciated, especially right now. Like literally patrons are paying my bills. So if you are a patron, new or old, like thank you. You literally are paying my bills right now. Like 90% of my money comes from that now, and I am very appreciative. So I just wanted to say that. Let's see. Awaiting Strange New Worlds. Me too, Creek Flood. I want my Captain Pike back so badly. I just want my Captain Pike. Let's see. Aw, thank you, Andrew Clay. You said you're literally glowing. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Yeah, like I said, I've been feeling sexy lately, which has been kind of weird for me. Let's see. Oh, well, thank you so much, Director Colson. I really appreciate that about you saying that about my patrons. Well, the patron community is a blessing, and they are all wonderful folks, and you all honor me by being patrons. So I don't want to harp on that point too much, but I love all of you. You're all wonderful. Let's see. Black Cover 95 says, just finished your feminism in Trek video. One of your best, very comprehensive, yet very nuanced. Well, thank you very much, Black Cover 95. Yeah, that was actually the women in Star Trek video that I did, what is it, 2 years ago at this point? Something like that. That was the first video that, like, really blew up, and that was because of Steve Shives. People might have forgotten that. Like, that was the first video of mine that really kind of exploded. And that was because I made the video, and then I just randomly asked Steve to do a voice for it. I didn't think he would say yes. I didn't even think he knew who I was. But he actually responded and was like, yeah, 100% I would do that. And I said, oh my gosh, okay, great. And he recorded his voice. He did it. And then he shouted me out in one of his videos, which is insane. And because he shouted me out, my channel, like, got a huge explosion of new subs. That, like, really jump-started this channel. And honestly, it helped me emotionally at that time. I really needed it, because that was right after I lost my job at, I worked at Microsoft for a time, and I lost my job for stuff that was outside of my control, and it was really kind of shitty. So I won't go too far into the depths of that, but, honestly, like, Steve, like, that video was the first one that I really felt was one of my absolute best, and really helped us to explode the channel, and started to show me that YouTube was like a community. So I very much appreciate that video very much. It's one of my personal favorites. So Mango Blaze, only found your videos recently because I loved your trans people in sports video. Well, thank you so much. I liked that video too. I thought that was, like, again, I'm trying to, like, do more cool explodey things with the videos. I can't do that at every single video, but I'm hoping to more regularly, especially now that I'm full time. I'm gonna try and do more crazy things. I already know what my next big one's gonna be, but it's kind of nervous about it because it's gonna be a really personal one. It's gonna be probably actually one of my most personal videos I've done, because it kind of is actually, like, all the other personal videos that I've done have been on stuff that I'm, like, not bothered about or not worried about, but the next one that I'm doing is going to be on stuff that I'm, like, actively processing right now, and it's kind of a little bit harder, so try my best. So we'll see what that's going to be the next big one. So, but that'll probably be not for another month or two. So in another month or two, you'll probably see that. I'm probably writing it next week, and then we'll sort of see how long production takes on it. Corey, yep, I'm one of the ones who found you through Steve. Thank goodness for that. Well, I am glad you found me through Steve, Corey. I see Sarah Swenny found me as well, so yay. All right. Millennium Falcon versus NX-01. Who would win? Ooh, good question, Owen. Very good question, actually, now that I think about it. Because if it was any other like, if you were talking about the USS Enterprise under Captain Kirk, I feel like that would beat the Millennium Falcon easy. And anything beyond that, like Enterprise D, easily beat the Millennium Falcon, that scrap heap. But the NX-01 is kind of a dinky ship itself. It also depends on, like, where, like, is it the refit NX-01, like you see in, like, season 3 and 4, where they got a little bit more armaments? Because if it's that, I really think I feel like that would win the NX-01, but it would be close. The Millennium Falcon can move a lot faster. I feel the Millennium Falcon doesn't have as big a punch as the NX-01, but it's a lot more maneuverable. So that might save it in the long run. Like, I feel I'd probably give the edge to the Millennium Falcon, but I think it would be a very close battle. So. Aw, Danielle Salerno. Apology if I said your last name wrong there. You said find your channel after hearing on Women at Warp. I love Women at Warp, one of my favorite Star Trek podcasts. So I'm glad that you found me through that, because that podcast is easily, like, one of my personal favorite Star Trek podcasts, hand down. Like, if anyone's looking for a good Star Trek podcast, Women at Warp. Women at Warp is easily, like, top, if not my favorite, one of my top 3 Star Trek podcasts, hands down. Not even a question. Kelly Sanderford, any thoughts on Caitlyn Jenner running for governor of California? I mean, oh my god, I have so many thoughts on her running for California. That's, like, the main one. A good video I'd recommend for everybody to watch is Kat Black just did her, like, True Tea podcast on Caitlyn Jenner. I pretty much agree with all of her thoughts on that. But I mean, setting aside like her betrayal of the trans community because she's like, oh well, I think that trans women shouldn't be in sports, which is like, screw you. Like, you were an Olympian. You have never been, and you never had to be a trans woman in sports. You were seen, like, or at least not overtly seen as a trans woman in sports. Like, you were seen as a guy in sports and got to participate in any way you wanted to. Now, I'm not saying that you didn't experience some form of, like, harm because you were, like, being seen as a man and that being misgendered and not being able to, like, not feeling like you could be out. But, like, there was definitely a way different situation for you. And so it's really kind of shitty of you to say that trans women can't be in sports, especially when you've never been, like, a young trans woman, which is mainly what this has been around trans women in youth sports. To say that, like, screw you. Really pissed me off there. In terms of Caitlyn Jenner on that. And then the other thing too is I think she just recently went on I don't remember what it was, but she's running for governor of California, and she went on a thing saying like, oh yeah, my friend who has a like, her first ad was about like attacking elitists, like, I'm gonna go after the elitists, like, none of these like democratic elitists, meh, 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 meh. And then her first like interview appearance about running for governor, she's like, well, my friend who has an airplane hangar was complaining about like having to see the homeless the other day. Like, oh, how bad is it to see the, like, it was literally like, I have the friend who runs an airplane hangar. He was talking to me yesterday. He's like, oh, I just hate seeing the homeless. And you're running against elitists, miss. My best friend who owns an airplane hangar. Just as a thing that he has. And he's complaining about, oh, I have to see the homeless. Like, it'd be a different thing if you were talking about, like, why homeless people are why homeless? Like, if you're just saying, like, it is a bad thing that homeless people are homeless, and, like, here's the things that I want to try and change to fix that, that'd be a whole different deal. Like, you felt bad that you saw homeless people and you wanted to change that. But her thing was not that. It was like, oh, I hate that I have to just see the homeless as I chill out with my frickin' airplane hangar friend. Ugh. She just... Caitlyn Jenner is no friend to the trans community as a whole, and she is no friend to just marginalized groups as a whole. And she's not going to win. She's not going to win. At least I hope to God she doesn't win, but I don't think she even has close to support within the Republican Party, especially since he attacked Trump at one point, because heavens to Betsy, like, he attacked the one, like, she was fine with Trump attacking all the other marginalized groups, but he starts attacking trans women in a way that, like, could bother her. That's when he's like, oh, I didn't understand. Yeah, Caitlyn Jenner just makes me angry. Anyways, I missed a few super chats, so apologies. Let me get to those real quick. D. Duval, heart to you. I don't remember how I found you. Probably searching disco reviews, and while finding Penske file, found you as well. Glad I did. You are fabulous. Well, thank you so much, D. Duval. I really appreciate that. Yeah, the disco reviews were some of the early things that I did on this channel. Go back and watch my season 2 disco reviews. Those are, whew. That's when I did not care about my appearance in videos. But I might redo those videos. I'm thinking of, I'm not 100% sure yet. So let me know in the chat what you think about this, but I might, over on After Dark, my secondary channel that I just started, I never reviewed the first season of Star Trek Discovery, so I might review the first season of Star Trek Discovery and then re-review the second season of Star Trek Discovery, just because I feel like I'm a better reviewer now. I'm not going to re-review Picard Lower Decks in Season 3 of Discovery because I feel like that's when I sort of, was a better reviewer. But I never reviewed Season 1 of Disco and Season 2 of Disco, so I might do a re-review of those. Might be kind of fun. Heart to you, Owen. Sorry that you had to leave. Hopefully you're still in the chat if you catch this. But thank you so much for the super chat, Owen. I really appreciate you. And you said, got to go, everyone. Stay safe. Don't panic and don't trust the cake. Nice Portal reference. I appreciate you. I see you. I see you, Owen. I see you, Owen. I got you. I appreciate that reference. Let's see. I got another super chat here from MST3K Khaleesi. Heart to you. I love that name, by the way. I think you've super chatted before, but like that your name is amazing. MST3K Khaleesi. That's a good one. It actually is Khaleesi? Yeah. Not sci-fi related, but have you watched The Haunting of Hill House, Bly Manor on Netflix? If so, what are some of your thoughts? You look fantastic. By the way, and your presence and your content make the world a better place. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Yeah, in terms of The Haunting of Hill House and Bly Manor, I liked both of them. I thought Haunting of Hill House was much better. I don't know why I sounded like Moyer from Schitt's Creek there for a second there, but Hill House I thought was such an excellent exploration of trauma and using ghosts and like the haunted house metaphor is like is sort of a literalization of all of these characters' traumas, and how these different characters' traumas and how their mother dying have all like bounced off of each other, and sort of like harmed each other in varying ways throughout their lives. I thought that was such a beautiful show about that. If you're looking for a good analysis of that, Lady Nightbrave, who is one of my favorite video essayists, Lady Nightbrave did a great video on The Haunting of Hill House that I highly recommend, because it goes in depth into all of that. But I think that show is just such a wonderful analysis, and the director of the show, who has directed some of my favorite horror movies of all time, did such a great job with that. Like, he did also Hush, which was fantastic. His first movie that he did with Doug Jones, I forget the name of it. It's gonna bother me. Hush director Mike Flanagan. And his first film is called Absentia. Absentia is such a great first film. Like, you can definitely tell it's a first film, but it's so good, and it has Doug Jones in it, and it's really wonderful, and actually focuses on a lesbian relationship. With like, great job for a young like director to focus on a lesbian relationship. Hush is great. Oculus is great. Gerald's Game is fantastic. Dr. Sleep is fantastic. Great director. Easily phenomenal. Bly Manor, I liked as well, but I didn't like as much. I felt it was a bit overlong, and I felt it was a bit meandering. I liked the concept of, like, this ghost who, like, drew people in with her trauma. I don't want to spoil too much for that show, but it was all about, like, trauma sort of, like, pulling people into it more, which is a cool idea. But some of the implications for how that show ended, I didn't particularly love. Like the suffering of others for like other people's crap. The implications I didn't think were as strong as Hill House was. So I think, yeah, I really liked. I liked both, but I think Bly Manor is distinctly lesser work than Hill House. But both are solid, and I would recommend both. But I would say if you only have time for one, I would go more with Hill House than with Bly Manor. So I'm just catching up on the chat here. What do you think of Cabin in the Woods? Fantastic. I mean, it has Joss Whedon attached to it as, I think, like a producer or writer, so that's a bit meh nowadays. But it's such a great like break. It's funny, and it's such a great like breakdown of like horror tropes. Has some great horror scenes. I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. If you have not seen Cabin in the Woods, go watch it. It is so good. It's so hilarious. You get a young Chris Hemsworth, which is always worth the price of entry, really, just for Chris Hemsworth. And Chris Hemsworth and thing, I'm there. Don't need to hear any more. So great to see him. And then the elevator scene, without saying any more than that. If you know what I'm talking about, if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about when I say the elevator scene. And it's one of the best things. So yeah, if you're a horror comedy fan, very much go watch Cabin in the Woods. Truly a phenomenal, and try and go into it with like as blind as you possibly can, because the less you know about the movie, the better, I think. And it's just a ton of fun how that one goes. Suzanne, heart to you. Thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Good night, everyone. Make a cup of coffee for Jessie. Well, thank you so much. I will enjoy the coffee. Let's see. Jessie Gender for president. I've always wanted to. I thought about going into politics, but I don't know. Especially with the stuff like on YouTube that I've made, I don't know if people like me being an out leftist and everything. I don't know if that will go over well. But one day maybe. I do want to do like community stuff. Like I don't really know if I would run for office, but I would love to like get involved in like community organizing and things like that at some point in my life. So yeah. Ooh, tossing in for the beer fund. Sarah, excuse me. Thank you so much, Sarah. Tossing in for the beer fund and adding a recommendation from Texas. Amarillo Ale Works Brunch Money Stout. That sounds amazing. For all of you who don't know, I'm a huge stout person. And Sarah has been on a stout hunt with me. So I'm going to save that on my thing here. Where's my little list here? Why is this not popping up? There we go. No, stop. I have a little thing that's supposed to pop up like a little notepad, but for some reason it's not doing that, so I'll just do it there. There we go. All right, I saved that. I will check that out, Sarah, if I can get a chance. If I can find it somewhere that's not too terrible. Terribly expensive, I mean. So I will check that out. So. Von Tux, heart to you. Thank you so much for your super chat. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. You said, what I missed. Also, Jessie, you look so relaxed. Full-time working out for you, I take it. Yeah, it's going pretty good. I've been feeling good and feeling kind of chill, as you can hopefully tell. Yeah, I've been feeling, like I said, as you can tell, I feel like calmer. Like, there's a lot of anxiety, don't get me wrong. Like, there's a lot of, like, being full-time, I'm just sort of like, oh my god, what have I done? This is a terrible decision. It's all on me now. So there's a bit of fear. Actually, a lot of fear. Like a lot of fear. But I think also just, like, happier in what I'm doing. It's like, yeah, I'm scared that it could all disappear and go away, but, like, the stuff that I get to do right now feels good. And I appreciate that so much more. And I think it's so much better for my mental health. Like, I just feel better. So, there's a lot more fear, for sure, but there's a lot more, like, confidence as well, sort of mixed in there. It's like lack of confidence and confidence both at the same time, which is a very, like, hard feeling to, like, navigate, but it's definitely there. And I alternate between the two very much. Samuel Howard says, unfortunately, well, heart to you first off. Thank you so much for the super chat. You said, unfortunately, I must go, but keep shining on and sending good thoughts to you for your interview later. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that, you lovely person. I'm just, I send you good thoughts and kindnesses as you go to wherever you're going, whether it be bed or something else. So thank you so much for joining, and thank you for being here, Samuel. Heart to you, Ulysses the Pagan. I appreciate you. Coco, but actually, you're asking about my Boy Scout time, so I'll actually talk about my Boy Scout time a little bit. But I want to get to Ulysses the Pagan's thing here, too. Curious your thoughts on Deep Space Nine Far Beyond the Stars, which is the truth. The truth is Benny creation meta-canon, or are both canon, like the prophets use Benny, so Cisco will open the orb? I mean, I don't know. That's one of the interesting things that, like, Rick Berman, I think, was, like, famously, like, against the whole concept, because he was like, I don't want Star Trek to be in just this dude's head. But I kind of like the idea of it, that all of Star Trek is, like, the creation of a black man. Like, that's really cool. I actually really like that idea. In terms of the canon argument, I honestly, you could really just make the argument either way, that, like, one is the other, or you could do, like, the fun, like, multiverse thing, which is, like, something, one of the coolest things that I remember is there's a cool comic called Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, which is a good comic that you should watch. But this isn't really a spoiler because it's just like a one-off joke at the end of the comic. But the end of that comic literally ends with this idea of that, you know, Deadpool kills all of the Marvel universe, and then he goes into the other universes. And the first universe he goes to is into a universe where the writers of the comic are writing the comic, and he's gonna kill the writers of the comic. So you can, like, make a universe, like, there is a universe there that is the Star Trek universe. And then there's a whole other universe where Star Trek exists in the mind of this guy, and that they're just two different universes, and maybe it, like, jumps back and forth. So I don't really know. I actually kind of like that it's ambiguous. I really kind of like that it's ambiguous, that there is no definitive answer on that. I like stuff like that, where the ambiguity asks us even bigger questions. Because the thing that people get wrong about ambiguous endings or ambiguous sort of ideas within fiction is, like, only do an ambiguous ending if the ambiguous ending is going to provide more thought. Like, if the ambiguous ending is going to ask people to ask questions, and the questions that people ask because of your ending are more worthwhile than giving them a definitive answer, that's when you should use an ambiguous ending. If, like, having a more definitive ending, saying, like, no, this is what this means, this is what this believes, this is what this is about, that's what you need to do in your work, to, like, make it, like, very unambiguous. I think the unambiguous endings work better when you're, like, talking about, like, very real world and harder issues, to be like, no, this is the right thing. Like, if you're talking about marginalization, things like, no, this is the right thing. But with Far Beyond the Stars, I feel like what it does is it sort of makes us ask the questions, like, what would it mean if a black man created Star Trek, and that he was sort of oppressed for it? And what would that sort of mean for how we relate to the work? And it sort of asks that question. It doesn't like put it definitively down, but it sort of asks you to think about that. And so I think that's actually a great idea. It is a bit revisionist. We all know that like Gene Roddenberry created Star Trek, but I feel like just asking that question is such a cool one. So. Alex Carson, heart to you. Thank you so much for your super chat. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for the smiley face. Sending smiley faces at you. Appreciate you. So someone asked, I forget who, yes, Angie Pugh. I really like the ambiguous ending of The Handmaid's Tale. I love that ending, actually. Very, very, very good. And I love, without spoiling because the show might do this, but the last chapter of that book is actually really great too. Someone asked about my time as an Eagle Scout. So there's my time as an Eagle Scout is so broad. I could talk about many different things within that. But in terms of like what I did, I was in Boy Scouts since I was like 12. I started Cub Scouts actually as a wolf, so I missed Tiger. But then I was a wolf all the way up through Eagle. So over the age that it is like what, 11, something along those lines, all the way up to 18 years old. I worked at a summer camp. I worked at a Boy Scout summer camp for 10 years. Even after I left to go to college, I still worked at the summer camp during the summer. I worked as a camp counselor, and at the camp counselor every summer I worked mainly handicraft stuff. So I did like wood carving, taught leatherworking and things like that. I eventually became the director of the handicraft area, and then eventually for my final year working at that Scout camp, I was the assistant program director, so like technically fourth in charge of the camp, which was kind of fun. And that was a good time. I really loved doing it. Show us your badges, Jessie. Actually, my mom just sent me my badges. They're down I have a storage locker in this apartment building. They have some storage lockers down in the basement. And my mom actually just sent me a bunch of my old badges, so I actually have them. I can't get them now because I'd have to go dig them out, and they're in the back in a box, but maybe one day I will dig them out and show them off at some point. So Carla the Cinephile asks, thank you so much for your super chat. Heart to you, Carla the Cinephile. Thank you so much. You asked, have you watched the Bad Batch premiere? If so, thoughts? I actually did, so you're giving me a good, thank you, Carla, for giving me a good chance to plug stuff. For those of you who don't know, I do have a second channel now. I just started a second channel this week, and it's called Jessie Gender After Dark. And Jessie Gender After Dark is where all my reviews are going to, all of my non-Star Trek reviews, like my Star Trek reviews of Star Trek TV shows are still going to remain on this channel. But all my other reviews and like geek stuff is going to move over there. And then this channel is going to become much more like big video essay focused. But then all of my reviews, my random discussions, all the like nerdy stuff, the lists and all, just me just sort of dorking out. That's all gone to After Dark. And on After Dark, I actually did a review of the first episode of The Bad Batch. So if you want my thoughts on The Bad Batch, I did that video already, and I did a whole review of the first episode. And I'll be reviewing each episode as it comes out. So I think the next episode of Bad Batch is actually tonight or tomorrow night, so you'll probably see my review. I'm going to be busy this evening, so I won't be able to get to the Bad Batch tonight, but like I normally would. But I will get to the Bad Batch, my Bad Batch review by Saturday. So look, if you want to go subscribe to it After Dark, you want my thoughts on Bad Batch right after it comes out, I will have reviews of the Bad Batch over on After Dark, and then I'll be reviewing Loki when it comes out, and a few other shows as well. So all that's going to be over there. And then don't worry, my Lower Decks and like whatever any other new Star Trek shows that come out, I'll be reviewing on this channel, just so everyone knows. Carla, heart to you. Thank you so much for your super chat. Carla says, hi, Jessie. Saw your poll that you might play the new Resident Evil. Can't wait. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Saturday I do drunk gaming live streams, and the new Resident Evil is coming out tomorrow. I already have it pre-ordered, so it's going to be coming in the mail. I'm super excited for that. And I might play it Saturday night for my drunk gaming live streams. I've been honestly, I love my gaming live streams, but I've been waiting for I've been playing like old retro games, and I've been wanting to play like a new game for a while now, so it's nice to have one. So I might play the new Resident Evil Saturday. It'll sort of depend on what the chat's feeling a little bit, because normally I would just pick, and I did sort of a vote on it. I know that spooky stuff can be a little bit hard for people, and I want my Saturday night live streams to be just kind of fun for everybody, like a fun time to just hang out and just chill with some friends on Saturday evening. So if it's going to be, and thank you, Corey, for sharing that link. I appreciate that. The After Dark link, Corey just shared in the chat. Thank you for that. So I might play I might play it, but I don't want to like make people feel uncomfortable. So if I feel like there's a good sizable chunk of people who on Saturday will feel like they can't participate because Resident Evil's too scary, I might not play Resident Evil for too long or at all. But we'll sort of see. The vote seems to generally be the sentiment that people want me to play it. So I think that's probably what's gonna be happening. So. Sadly, I see the next super chat, but Puck, thank you so much for your super chat. Even though the thing that you're sharing is sad, I really appreciate you. You said some sad news from Sweden about stopping hormone blockers for teens under 16. I'm assuming it's the same sort of thing, that's sort of like anti-trans rhetoric of like, we need to stop trans teens. I did a whole video on it, so I'm not going to get too far into it now, but it just saddens me. I'm sorry. And hey, Newt's here. Speaking of something to come and make us feel better, but thank you for sharing that. I didn't know that was also going on in other countries outside of the UK. But I'm sad to hear it. Hey, Newt, say hi to everybody. Hey, buddy. Make us all feel better after the sad news. He is right here purring away. Hi, buddy. Who's a good Newt, man? He is purring away. Let's see. I'm gonna try and see if I can angle this camera so you can see him a little better. There we go. Yeah. He's probably making you hear the mic all rubby. Marg, thank you so much for your super chat. I will make sure Newt gets it. I know you like to give to the Newt Fund, so that will go to Newt. Thank you so much for your super chat. Let's see. Imagine if you were reunited with your old scout troop. My scout troop knows that I'm out. I'm out to everybody in my old scout troop, so most of them are pretty accepting. So that's funny. So, but yeah, no, most of the people, surprisingly, I went to school in like a small farming community, in New York. So you wouldn't expect it would be as accepting, but I've generally encountered from them, from other people less so, but from them, I've actually not encountered all that much transphobia or anything like that. They've been fairly accepting. To be fair, I have not gone back there, so I haven't like been there for an extended period of time. I'm sure I would counter some more anti-trans rhetoric there. But in terms of every time I've gone back and visited and like seen people, I've encountered no problems, or at least no major problems. A couple people here and there are jerks, but to be expected, sadly. Marg, say hello to my friend Denton. Well, hello, Denton. Good to see you. Welcome. I'm glad that you are here. Resident Evil and tacos. Ulysses is a pagan. See, for those of you who know, I've ordered Taco Bell the last 2 Saturday nights on the gaming stream. That was not the plan. I had actively was like, I'm not going to order food. But of course I order food and get Taco Bell because I'm drunk and want Taco Bell. Yeah, you want the scrunchie, Newt? Is this what you want? He wants to attack the scrunchie. This, yeah? No, you're not. You were attacking it a second ago. You just want attention. Newt just wants attention. Western New York is pretty cool. Yeah, I like New York generally as a state. You can talk about Cuomo, which is its own whole thing. Screw Cuomo for numerous reasons. But as a state, I think New York is a pretty good state. I actually really like it as a state. And I'm saying as a state, not necessarily New York City. I've only been to New York City like 3 or 4 times in my life. I've been there. I've explored there, but I haven't really been there for a ton of time. So I actually know New York, the state, more than I know New York, the city. And the state of New York is actually really beautiful. You get up in the Adirondacks. Some of the Pacific Northwest here in Seattle is gorgeous, but so is the Adirondacks. Like probably the second most beautiful. Like Pacific Northwest, I feel like is a little bit prettier, but Adirondacks is up there too. Going to the Adirondacks is just simply gorgeous. So I would very much recommend it. Wellington Smith. Yes, Jessie eats while she streams it, so something cute is what it is. I hope so. I hope so. I hope it's good content for you. I'm just drunk and wanting Taco Bell, so hopefully it is. Colorado, Angie Pugh. Colorado is beautiful. It is, Colorado is I am not a desert person. I dislike the desert. It's not the kind of, I totally understand people getting energy from the desert. It's the type of nature that I don't get energy from. It sucks energy from me. So, desert is not my kind of thing. But the most beautiful version of the desert is found in Colorado, by far. Like, Colorado is gorgeous. Like, I lived in California, and the desert in California is just dry and nasty and dull. Like, the desert in Colorado, like, all of its beautiful rock formations and everything is simply gorgeous. It's not something I would necessarily want to live in permanently, but visiting there is wonderful. I have family in Colorado, and it is a gorgeous place to visit. Gorgeous place to visit. And I totally understand why people want to live there. It's just not my cup of tea, but I sure as hell don't mind being there for an extended amount of time. That's for damn sure. But they have legal weed. Well, they have legal weed here in Seattle, too. And California. And actually, most of the places I've lived just have had legal weed. Yeah, Callie, me too. I prefer woods. Yeah, Newt's doing the lick the hand thing. I don't know why. Newt, why do you like licking my hand? I don't know what this is. I don't know what is on my hand that he finds so delectable, but Newt just always loves to lick my palm. I don't, like, sometimes he's aggressive about it. He'll, like, shove his face, like, I'll start petting him, he's like, and he, like, shoves his face in my palm. I'm like, what is on my hand that you find so delicious? And I wash my hands regularly, so I don't know what the hell. I don't know what the hell he finds so delicious about my palms. He's a weirdo cat. You're a little weirdo cat, that's what you are, buddy. Did you know that? Yeah, you're a little weirdo. I love you. You're a little weirdo. Okay. Oh, you didn't like the kiss, did you? That was a no for the kiss. He did not like that. Well, someone might have just gotten a bit overstimulated. So I'll let you be for a little bit. Let's see. Newt is grooming you. That's why he's looking. Do you want attention or not? You just bit me. Is it just because I kissed you? You didn't like that? Sometimes he gets a bit overstimulated and he bites when he's overstimulated, so I sometimes just need to let him be. Sorry, catching up on some of this chat here. It means Newt love. I think it may be a bonding thing. It means Newt loves you, possibly. But he'll sometimes lick my palm when he's angry at me too. So I don't know what's going on there. Oh, baby girl Roberta, your cat just had kittens? That's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. Congratulations. Cats do not have fully compatible affection displays. That is true. That I have found out very much so. Let's see. Let Newt be Newt. He's still here, but yeah, I think I'm just gonna let him sit for a minute. Cappuccino Crafts. Jessie, did you have dogs or cats while you were growing up? Yes, to both, actually. So, my parents are divorced, right? And when my parents divorced, I had a young cat named Fido that I loved to death. He passed away when I was fairly young, though. So I don't have tons of memories of him, but I do remember I loved him a lot. And then my parents divorced, and at my mom's house, we actually had 5 cats at one point. Some of them have since passed away, but we had 5 cats. Speaking of cats, heading out. Cats are... Newt's heading out. But we had 5 cats. One of them was my cat, called her Miss T. I loved Miss T. She would always, like, sleep in the crook of my arm at night. And she would always follow me around. She was like a dog. She would follow me around everywhere. I loved Miss T so much. Unfortunately, she also passed away. But we had a bunch of other cats. Some of them are still alive. They're all fat, too, because my stepdad likes to feed the cats way too much. So they are big cats. So I had a bunch of 5 cats at my mom's. And then at my dad's house, we eventually had... This gets very eclectic. So at my dad's house, we had... Because I had a brother and a sister over there as well. Because I had a stepsister and a... half-sister, stepbrother, excuse me. And so we had a bunch of different animals there. At my dad's, we had hermit crabs for a little while. Passed away. We had 3 cats, not all at the same time. We only had 1 cat at a time, but they all passed, and we got new ones at each time. So 3 cats total. Then we have a dog who is still alive that I've had since I was young. He's gotten very old. He's a very old dog, but his name is Mickey. He's a cute little Bichon Frise. I adore him so much. Anything else? Anything else we had over there? I feel like there's one other. Oh, we had a hamster, but the hamster is or guinea pig, I should say. The guinea pig was my sister's. Though he had to stay in my room sometimes and drive me crazy at night. freaking keep me up all night in a stupid little wheel. He was a cute thing, but he drove me crazy. Yeah, and then I'm trying to think. Oh, and then my grandparents had a dog named Pepper, who I adored. She was a lovely, lovely dog. Unfortunately, she also passed away. Yeah, so that's pretty much my animal journey. And then I had a dog in college, or just after college, that I got called Kazooie, who unfortunately was too much for me at certain points. So I had to and I gave her to a family who could take better care of her. But at that point in my life, I was just too busy to be able to take care of a dog who she had a lot of separation anxiety. A lot of emotional issues. I love that dog to death, but a lot of emotional issues, and she was a little bit too much for me to take care of. So, unfortunately, I had to give her up. But I loved her very much. So, and I do know where she still lives. So, Kazooie is very much happy. Hi, Newt. You back? What are we doing? You coming back, or you just gonna hang out? He's gonna hang out. Adam Apple, thank you so much for your super chat. Heart to you. I appreciate you. Let's see. Adam Apple says, I must send money to fund someone living the dream. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I really do. It really does mean a lot, especially right now. Like, seriously, the super chats and Patreon stuff is all, like, very much appreciated. Like, the super chats now literally pay my bills, so thank you. Tessa, thank you so much. Heart to you. I appreciate you. Love your vids. Well, I love you. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you for being part of the community. Let's see. Catching up on some of the tweets here, on some of the chat here. Let's see. I love the fact that there's a dog breed that's literally called Frizzy Bitch. The French don't mince words, right? That is hilarious. You Frizzy Bitch. It's adorable, adorable. Hey, Christy, good to see you. Good to see you. Wisconsin, favorite sci-fi games, and talking video games, Mass Effect, obviously, the Mass Effect games, you can't talk about sci-fi games without talking Mass Effect. Halo, I love the Halo franchise. I'm trying to think of, like, smaller games that I can kind of point to. Into the Breach, that's a really fun, like, smaller, kind of more indie game. I love Into the Breach, great little strategy game. If you like Final Fantasy Tactics kind of games, Into the Breach is, like, a small little bite-sized version of that. I cannot recommend that enough. Control is more horror, obviously, but I still think it's one of my favorite video games of all time, period. Mirror's Edge, I love Mirror's Edge so much. I would highly recommend that as well. So Mirror's Edge, very much up there. What else? I think those are the main ones. Hey, Gozer. Good to see ya. Good to see you. Don't know what this voice is that I am doing here. Yeah, Into the Breach has a great soundtrack. Eric of the Internet. Great soundtrack. Angie Pugh, try Control. It is so good. So good. It requires, it is a bit, it's not like jump scary. Like, Control is not like out and out, like, jump scary in any way. So it's not like Resident Evil in that sense, but it's atmosphere. It is very atmospheric. Control is a very, like, creepily atmospheric game. So it can be creepy because it kind of maintains that creepy atmosphere all the way through, but it's not a jump scary game. Like, you don't really ever have to worry about, like, terrible jump scares in that game. So Jessie's thinking face was adorable. Thank you, Corey. I appreciate that. Stone/52. Have you seen Game of Thrones? Yeah, of course I've seen Game of Thrones. I mean, I have the same opinion that pretty much everyone else does. Like, my opinion on Game of Thrones is it's great up until the final season, and then it was crap. I guess my only hot take on the final season of Game of Thrones would really be, like, I don't hate the concept of what they tried to do. Like, I don't mind Khaleesi becoming the villain. It's, like, not a terrible idea, but they did not do it well. And too fast. That show needed, I feel like my thing is, like, that show needed at least 2 more seasons to really, really do justice to its story. So that'd probably be my hottest take, but it still sucked. The final season sucked. But Game of Thrones as a whole is a great show, but it kind of, because it ends so terribly, makes it a little bit hard to go back to. So, Teresa, thank you so much for the super chat. Heart to you. You are amazing. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Let's see. Oh, Kyle Cragen. I don't know who that is, actually. Gozer, you're saying Kyle Cragen said nice things about me? Well, I will say nice things about them if I know who they are. I do not. Maybe I do know them. Sometimes I know YouTubers, but I don't know, like, I don't follow them, like, specifically. Cragen. How do I'm trying to find, where was his name? Kyle Cragen. Copy and paste that name. Because I'll give them a follow and I'll check them out. I just gave them a subscribe. Gave them a good subscribe. So, hey Newt, welcome back. Hi. He is back. He is back, everybody. Is it a good idea to just watch the good seasons of Game of Thrones then stop, says Cappuccino Crafts. The problem is that Game of Thrones is a full story front to back. Like, it is telling one story. So really, it's like if you just watch the good seasons, like, you'll only be watching like part of the story, and it's just kind of hard to do that, to be frank. It's not like a TV show where you're just like, I'll just watch one season and not watch the rest. Like, it really is you gotta watch it all the way through. The problem is it ends badly. So it is worth it in the sense that, like, the seasons that are good are excellent and some of the best TV out there, but it just ends badly. So you just got to be prepared for that. Like, the ending is not great. And if you're okay with that, the journey is really good. Just know that the destination isn't sometimes worth it. So, but sometimes the journey is all that matters. So there you go. So that's just sort of what you gotta sort of weigh there. Oh. Brash Bug, I heard Lore Reloaded say that you attacked him but did not elaborate. Did I miss something? That was a joke. It was a joke. I was actually in the chat when he said that. He had Lore Reloaded did a video, or there was some Facebook. Lore Reloaded, just to give this brief down, and then I actually have to go, everybody, in just a second here, but just to clear this up in case there's any misconceptions here. Lore Reloaded posted a thing about, like, getting his second vaccination, and then a Facebook group that was very anti-vaccination, conservative, crazy people, that was a conspiracy theory site, attacked him in a video on their Facebook group. He found out about it and did a live stream about it, about him getting attacked in a Facebook group. And I was in the chat while he was doing that, and I just joked, like, it was actually me, I was the one that attacked you. And then in the video he said, yep, it was you. He was being sarcastic, because we were just joking with each other. If you watch the video, he doesn't make that clear, because I don't know why he didn't, but if you look in the chat of that video, I wasn't attacking him, or I didn't do anything to him. He and I were just joking with each other. But no, I did not attack him. There's no drama between us, at least as far as I know. So there's no drama between us. It was just sort of like a silly joke thing that you have to have, like, a full context of the chat and the video to understand we were joking with each other. So, anywho, sorry, Newt, because Newt is getting comfortable, and I actually have to get ready to get some other stuff ready before the stuff in half an hour. So I am going to bid everyone adieu for this evening. Couple quick announcements before we wrap out for the evening, just to sort of, like, touch on some stuff. First things first, I'm doing this full time now. So all of you doing Super Chats, all of you doing Patreon, that pays my bills. So if you can support me, if you want to support me on Patreon, get yourself perks in the community, I would really appreciate that. Also, Super Chats really do help me out as well. But by no means am I demanding or need that or anything like that. I do just appreciate you being here. But I just want to make that more explicit nowadays, because that does pay my bills. So I have to be a little bit more upfront about that, and I do apologize for that. So thank you for bearing with me there. But it does really help me if you can support that way. Second thing, I do have a new channel, Jessie Gender After Dark. That's where my dorky, nerdy stuff is going to be going. So check out that channel. My video premiere is tomorrow. It's going to be on The Handmaid's Tale and TERFs. It is about a harder issue. There is a ton of trigger warnings for that video, I should say, given the subject matter of that video. So just make sure to take care of yourself. But if you can, join us. The premiere will be at 11. I would love to see you in the chat for that. I'll be there in the chat for that. Otherwise, the video will be there afterwards. And And then I'll be playing my video game drunk on Saturday. So Saturday night, I'll be playing Resident Evil or some other game in the evening my time. And we'll just have some fun there. So come hang out with me on Saturday as well. Other than all of that, I appreciate all of you. I see there was one more super chat, Supreme Cud. Thank you so much. Heart to you. Hey, Jessie, I wanted to say, as a trans woman, your vids really help me, and I really love your videos and how interesting you make them. I wish you all a good day. Well, thank you so much. This last heart is for you, Supreme Cud. I appreciate that, and I appreciate you being very kind and nice. Breaking that heart. This is a new heart for everybody in the chat. Everyone in the chat, and you get this heart. You are all lovely. I adore you so much. You're all lovely people, and I will bid you all a good night. Vale, of course, says Vale sends a love. Well, I send my love to Vale. Love to all of you. It is 11 o'clock Pacific time is the premiere, Chaz. All right. I got to vamp a little bit. Yes, I know. I don't know where the button is. How do I end the stream? Where is the stream? There it is. All right. Goodbye, lovelies. You are an amazing person. NP Carnivore, I will answer this right before I go because I know you're asking someone to answer my question about proper pronouns for this person. She, her, and they, them. I use she, her, and they, them pronouns. Thank you for asking, and I bid you all a lovely adieu.